Our parent company, Paramount, is trying to complete a merger. The Trump administration must approve it. Paramount began to supervise our content in new ways. No one here is happy about it. But in resigning, Bill proved one thing. He was the right person to lead 60 Minutes all along.
60 Minutes went rogue. Scott Pelley, the host, came out and blamed the company, saying that they're basically bending the knee to Donald Trump because the company that he works for is trying to engage in a merger. This is journalistic malpractice. You know, my favorite kind of story to bring you guys, because I'm going to bring you the true facts. 60 Minutes, CBS, they're getting sued by Donald Trump for a large sum of money. And now, just the other day, this breaking story emerges where Scott Pelley, the host of 60 Minutes, calls out Paramount in a shocking attack on CBS's parent company. At least that's how the New York Post is framing it. This is what we have in the corporate press. They will lie to you every step of the way for activist reasons. But if you actually read between the lines of what they are reporting, the details are all there. In fact, this is about the resignation of a guy named Bill Owens. Bill Owens resigned for a variety of reasons. We can speculate. One, pretending their coverage of the Israel-Hamas war seems to have played a role, according to the New York Times. And also, the company likely was pushing on CBS because they're in a lawsuit. And I'll break down for you, at least from a small business perspective, what that really means. But let me start by showing you Scott Pelley going rogue.
He was our boss. Bill was with CBS News nearly 40 years. 26 years at 60 Minutes. He covered the world, covered combat, the White House. His was a quest to open minds, not close them. If you've ever worked hard for a boss because you admired him, then you understand what we've enjoyed here. Bill resigned Tuesday. It was hard on him and hard on us, but he did it for us and you. Stories we've pursued for 57 years are often controversial. Lately, the Israel-Gaza war and the Trump administration. Bill made sure they were accurate and fair. He was tough that way.
Sure.
But our parent company, Paramount, is trying to complete a merger. The Trump administration must approve it. Paramount began to supervise our content in new ways. None of our stories has been blocked, but Bill felt he lost the independence that honest journalism requires. No one here is happy about it, but in resigning, Bill proved one thing. He was the right person to lead 60 Minutes.
No, I think if he proved one thing, it's that he was the wrong person. We have this tweet from @ChicagoRay. And he says, despite the sob story by Scott Pelley, 60 Minutes producer Bill Owens was told to resign because he was who oversaw the editing of the Kamala interview that led to Trump suing them and Paramount for upwards of $20 billion. Now they can't merge until they pay Trump. Here's the story. LA Times. Trump amends CBS 60 Minutes lawsuit and demands $20 billion. This is from February, okay? Trump has amended his lawsuit against CBS, demanding $20 billion, and again, claiming the network deceptively edited a 60 Minutes interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris in an effort to prop up her election chances. In the new court filing late Friday, Trump demanded twice the amount of damages that he originally requested. The updated complaint included CBS's parent company, Paramount Global, as a defendant and added Republican U.S. Rep. Ronnie Jackson, Trump's former doctor, as a plaintiff because he lives in Texas, where the case was filed. Trump amended filing seeks to steer the case away from the First Amendment grounds. Instead, Trump asserts the case should not hinge on free speech arguments because CBS allegedly had business motivations to make Harris appear stronger. CBS declined to comment Saturday, though the network has repeatedly denied that it deceptively manipulated the Harris interview. The accusations are that in one instance, and you know what, let me just say this outright. They did. They do. They all do. They do it all the time. So we've got a couple of interviews that we did here at Timcast with Secretary of DHS Kristi Noem, Sebastian Gorka, and Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. We had the opportunity, and we did film with multiple cameras. We decided to play these, to upload these, single shot, straightforward. When we normally do interviews on Timcast IRL, they are live. We are preparing to do interviews for the Tim Pool morning show, noon show, on the Rumble lineup, and it will be live. And there's a reason for this. Because every time a journalist does an interview, every single, not literally every time, but most of the interviews you see that appear on TV are edited. And they'll argue, well, we just cut it down for context and time. No. They cut it down to change what is being said. And the example that I love to give, imagine there's an interview and you've got one camera pointed at me and I'm nodding along. They fake that. Let me tell you this, because I tell you, I've been on sets that do this. I have done this for Vice. Now, we didn't fake anything, but, well, actually, I take that back. We didn't put out misinformation, but here's the trick. What we would do is while we're filming the interview, they'll say, hey, Tim, we need some reaction shots. And so this is how they fake interviews, okay? Now, I will stress again, when I did interviews, we never changed the context or edited information. I wouldn't stand for it. I'd always push back if I felt we were getting close to that. But there's a reason why we don't do any of that here. Once we were done with the interview, the camera guy would say, Tim, can we get some reaction shots? Okay, to the person being interviewed, you can leave now. We're just going to do some pickups. They'd turn the camera on and have me go like this. Just for those that are listening, I'm crossing my arms with my hand on my chin nodding. They'd say, now look surprised. And then they would say, we're going to use that when we cut to you to get different expressions because we want to convey emotion. But that never really happened. They added it after the fact. Now, here's why they do it. And again, I would not be party to this, but I'm telling you, they do this. They add those pickup shots so when they change the context of what someone said, they can get the correct emotion like reality TV. Let me give you an example. So let's say you're sitting with someone being interviewed and you go, what's the most shocking thing you've ever heard during your time in government? And then you'll have someone like Donald Trump, right? Where he jokes around and Trump will go, you know, the most shocking thing that I've heard anyone say is, I won't eat pizza. I won't touch it. Pepperoni, never gonna have it. And that was from the local janitor who said it to me, and I said, that's crazy, right? And then I'm sitting there, or the journalist is sitting there, and they hear Trump say that, and they're just like, okay, and they look expressionless. Okay, once the interview wraps, the producer goes, no, look shocked. I need you to go, really? And then here's the best part. Sometimes they add questions. They'll say, we're going to do some pickups. Tim, ask this, ask that. And then what they'll do is they will cut out the beginning of what Trump said. So all you see is Trump going, the question then becomes, tell me about what it's like for you for lunch. And then Trump goes, I won't touch pizza, especially with pepperoni. The point is, the original context is that he was saying, someone told me they would not do this. All they have to do is remove that opening line. And now they have Donald Trump on camera saying he doesn't eat pizza, which is shocking because everybody loves it. It's like the number one thing to order, right? I'm using a silly example, but this is what they do. Remember the very fine people hoax? Indeed. Trump said there were fine people on both sides, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally. But they cut that out and then say the opposite of what is true. They lie. That's 60 Minutes. So what did they do with Kamala Harris? They edited her interview to change context. And they'll argue they didn't. They'll say this is normal in the industry. Doesn't mean it's right. So as I mentioned, when we put up these interviews with Secretary Noem, Gorka, and today we'll have, we did put up Sean Duffy. It is a single camera, both of us, so you can see there's no editing, and it is a raw half-hour conversation. Because we don't want any cuts. We don't want any edits. Either have the conversation or don't. But you know what? Maybe it's not as salacious or entertaining. But I'm not here to make salacious or entertaining content. I'm here to get to the truth, which is what journalism used to be. Now, Scott Pelley is angry because these people are activists. That's what it's all about. The New York Times goes on to mention that Mr. Owens, only the third person to run, he resigned. 60 Minutes has faced mounting pressure in recent months from Trump, who sued them for $10 billion. In an emotional meeting on Tuesday, Mr. Owens' voice sounded raw as he struggled with his words, tearing up as he announced his decision to leave. It's clear the company is done with me, he said. Indeed. He oversaw the Kamala Harris interview for which they are being sued. And they may actually lose. And it's jammed up their business massively. Let me tell you the thing about lawsuits, okay? They put you in a position, whether you're right or wrong, you are screwed. You are screwed. I've been in lawsuits where people were breaking the law and the judge did not care, okay? People don't understand. CBS is in trouble here. The Trump lawsuit is a big deal. They could have their public broadcast license revoked for interfering in election. And they did. And so now they're saying to Owens, dude, you can't do this. And he's like, what do you mean I can't do this? I lie all the time. That's what he's saying. That's what I hear. When the people who run CBS and Paramount are saying, my dude, you cannot be covering the news with this way. He goes, but we've been doing this forever. Indeed, it's time to stop. Facing accountability. Here's what's funny. CBS faces accountability. So what do? They do this. They come down and say, guy, we got to change this. We can't keep doing this anymore. And he quits. That's the nature of news media. And Trump called him out. He's no perfect guy. Okay? But they're arguing that Trump is trying to shut the media down because he's suing them. Oh, shut up. I'm going to wrap it up there, my friends. Stay tuned. More segments to come up throughout the day. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all in a little bit.